Uses and gratifications as a form of media effects research is an interesting one because it's probably the only audience-focused theory. So uses and gratifications focuses on what people do with media rather than what media does to people. So it's kind of the reverse of many of the other theories that we've been looking at in this module. Uses and gratifications is based on 5 assumptions. So that media selection is goal motivated, so that we choose particular forms of media for particular reasons. So we go to Facebook for a particular reason. We go to Instagram for a particular reason. We tweet for a particular reason. And quite often those reasons are to satisfy certain needs and desires, which we'll look at in just a couple of seconds. The media compete with other communication forms, such as interpersonal communication, to satisfy those needs. And the interesting thing, and I think this is quite interesting in the context of social media, which is kind of a blurring of the boundaries between mass media and interpersonal communication, people are usually more influential than media in that competition for communication forms. So we tend to go to interpersonal forms of communication rather than mediated forms of communication in order to satisfy our needs and desires. So I think that's a really interesting take when we look at the impact of social media and how it is a hybrid between mass communication and interpersonal communication. Uses and gratifications historically has identified 4 key themes in their research: that we use media for diversion and escape. It's kind of obvious. We watch TV programs to relax, to switch, to switch off. We talk about reality television, watching reality television, keeping up with the Kardashians, RuPaul's Drag Race, whatever, as kind of a guilty pleasure. So we use media to divert our attention from other things. Even that kind of obsessive looking at our mobile phone is in many ways kind of using media as a distraction. So it sort of diverts our attention from what it is that we're supposed to be doing. You might be bored in a meeting, you might be bored in a lecture, wherever. So you flick through your social media feeds on your mobile phone, or you buy something on eBay. Personal relationships we use, and again, that kind of makes obvious and intuitive sense in relation to social media. But historically, people have developed what are known as parasocial relationships with media personalities. So think about the power of talkback radio hosts, or think about the power of radio announcers more generally. If you're at home during the day and you've got the radio on, that person or those people, the DJs that kind of work across the day, become known to us in a strange way. So we use media to enhance already existing social relationships, personal relationships, but we also use it to develop parasocial relationships. So we think about certain media personalities as someone, I could be friends, I could be friends with Grant Denyer, I could be friends, with Kim Kardashian. We never will actually be friends with those people, but it allows us to kind of think and project onto those people. And of course, the media we consume says something about who we are. Think about that in relation to music in particular, because music works at a very primal, at a very, instinctive and emotional level. we respond to music viscerally rather than intellectually. So when we go to a concert and we see our favorite band, we have an emotional reaction, and we wear the t-shirt of our favorite band or our favorite performer, especially after we've just been to see them at a gig. It says to the world, I like I like the 1975, I like Arcade Fire, I like whoever, and so that communicates part of our identity to the rest of the world. And finally, uses and gratifications identifies the surveillance role of media as being very important. So particularly in times of crisis, particularly when dramatic events are happening in our community, we will go to the news media in particular as a way of keeping in touch with what is going on around us. So that surveillance role is the fourth important use and gratifications that is identified in the research.